Alright, welcome back to the shop. Today we're continuing with our stretchers. If you remember last time we spoke, we were doing these, we were machining these two stretchers for the steam locomotive tender. And you can see I've done both of them now. We've got them three faces done. So that one and the top and bottom on both. What we need to think about now is the ends. We've got machined the ends, yeah, so you can see that. So this is the biggest one and this is the rear one. This fits at the rear of the tender. Alright, an ideal machine for machining them ends is the universal milling machine, but the only problem with that is I've only got one long cutter and it's not long enough. Let me just show you. It's a Clarkson end mill. Yeah. What I wanted to do was to skim these off. I'll skim them off at the same time. I didn't want to keep changing position. No good that way. You can see. Could do it that way just about. This is high-speed steel cutter. I don't want to cut the welds with this. I can't. This, if I need to sharpen it, you need a tool and cutter grinder. My little Warden Mark III isn't designed to grind the outside. It can do the ends, but it can't do the sides. So what I'm thinking of doing, I could see if I get an end mill this week sometime. If we could do that, but what I thought we could do is do it on the shaper. I can show you how to set this up and we can see how we're going to cut the ends on the shaping machine. I'll just put this away. So that goes back in there. It goes in our little box. There you go. So what we can do, let me just bring you down so you can see what's going on the shaper. Can you see that there, the shaping machine? Yeah. Alright. What we can do is we can turn this vise through 90. So this is out here. I'll take the bin off. We can put a different kind of tool in. What we would have to do is we'll have to clock that face, that fixed jaw there. We'll run the clock across that. But also as well as something else really important that we've got to do if we're going to be skimming an external face like that. That one there on a component. What we're going to have to do, because that will be like that. And what we'll do will be passing the cutter along there and I'll be feeding down at the same time. So what we need to do is we need to clock this as well, the tool holder or the tool head. So I'm going to get things cleaned down a bit and we'll get into sorting this out. I might take the vise off and clean everything up here, it's getting a bit dirty. Let me do that. Alright, I've just cleaned the table down, took the vise off, I've cleaned everything up. I'm going to put the vise back on again. If you see here on the vise, you've got a key. That key obviously has to fit in that middle slot there. So you can only put it on one way. So we'll put it on, put it there, make sure it's clean. We'll put it on and then we'll swivel the vise. But it's given me the opportunity to have a good clean out with everything. I've cleaned inside the vise as well. Cleaned inside of here too. I will sometime just pull the screw out, pull everything out and then give it a real good wash with some paraffin, but that'll be okay for the time being. What we'll do now is we'll put our washers and nuts on, tighten it down. The key locates the lubricates the vice. Let's give it a tap. That's in. I should have done that yet, because you have to lift it up just a little bit for this nut here. Won't quite go in. Right. Let me just lift it up again. Just this one here won't quite go in because of the casting. To get it started, we're all right. Now we can give it a thump back down again. All right, not far away. Right, let's put that in there. Put these nuts on, tighten it down, and then we'll swivel this through 90. You can see I've taken the bin off, needed to do that clean up, but we won't be able to put the bin on simply because it'll be in the way. So all we'll do is I'll just put the shovel underneath like that, then it'll catch the swarf. Won't be a problem. These are 11/16 across flats. I've cleaned across the cross rail as well. I've cleaned the base. Just getting in a bit of a state. Right, just wipe my hands. Where's me? 16 spanner gone. There it is. Let's pull down. There you go. And just to be sure, yeah, that's down. I always position the vice midway on the T-slots. That's my position for that. Right, what we'll do is we'll rotate this through 90. Of course, when we bring this back around to this position, we'll have to clock that face again in line with the ram. See, just swivels around whatever angle that you want to work at. There's me. Magnifying glass. Have a look. I'm lining at the 0 mark here with 90. It's calibrated 90 one way to here, 90 the other way, I think. Yeah, 90 the other way, so it goes 180 degrees. So I'm going to pinch that up in place. There you go. Right, we'll take the tool out and we'll get the stuff together for the clock and we'll set that up. I'll show you when I've done that. Alright, hopefully you can see the gauge there. We're going to run the clock across the fixed jaw of the vise. Now we haven't moved anything here, all we've done is rotated this through 90 and we've aligned it on the other side with the 90 mark and the 0. It's the same as what you've got here. Right, let's just see what, let's bring this back to the end here. There you go. The jaw isn't perfectly flat, I'm pretty sure of that. There are some discrepancies, wear and tear. That's still on 0. That's 0. It's wavering off a little bit now. 2, 3. It's on 4 now. And it's going down to 5. Towards 6 now. So it's got to go this way, so we've got to twist it like that. That's right, and that'll kick that further back. So what we're going to do is, where's the other span? Here it is. And just make sure that's not too tight. We need to be able to move that quite easily. What we'll do is we'll just tap it. We'll go half that distance. We'll leave it there. Let's just see what it looks like now. That's about 2, that is. It hasn't really moved much at all. Moving a little bit more on the end here. But as we go back across, I mean that's about -1 now. -2, -1. It's fluctuating between 2 and 3. It's on 2 now. 3, 2. I think that's good enough for what it is. What we need to do is pinch that down and then we'll try it again. Don't want anything to move. We'll check. Looks like we're still okay. Let's just run it across again. And I think that's okay. Right, so that's the vise aligned to the ram. I'm happy with that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to clock this here. So what we need to do is to find, we can use this setup here, and what we can do is we can put something in the vise, maybe a square or something like that, and we can run the clock up and down, or we could run this straight down the side here. That would tell us what we want to know. Alright, let me get set up and we'll have another look at that. Alright, hopefully you can just about see that gauge. I've had to cock it over a little bit here so you might not see it too well. But all I'm going to do, I've put my square in here, my engineer's square, and I can run the clock up and down on the square and it'll tell us how square this thing is here to the vise. Alright, so if you just watch you'll see. Okay, it's going plus now. So the plunge is moving in. What's that? Says 20. 10. Just make sure you don't clash with anything at the back here. 10. That's 0, so there's a 20th discrepancy there, isn't there? So what we need to do, we slacken the 2 bolts off on the head. Just come around the back right here. Don't leave it too slack, otherwise it'll just flop all over the place. Right, just close that down. Now what did we say? So it's going plus, look. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to touch it over this way, half that dimension. Maybe the wrong way on. It's just, I'm just going to pinch these just in case they move. See, I don't like having the tool head this high up. So 10, that's minus 10, that's 20. So we're going the wrong way really, won't we? Let's go back the other way. Where we went first. I've been fratting around with this now. We've got it not bad. See? 0, 0. It just starts to drop off a little bit. 2, 3, 4 at the end. It's come off there now anyway. So. You can see when I'm winding this, it's wobbling a little bit, so there's obviously play in with the gives and things. It's starting to stick out quite a bit now as well, so you've got errors, accumulation of errors there. I'm going to lock that in position now anyway. Okay. Windy outside today. There you go. Now let's just verify. Yeah, see, that's not bad. Just starting to drop off a little bit now. That's okay. Yeah, it's alright that as well. Right, we're going to leave that where it is. So now what we've done is we've clocked the vise, so it's at 90 degrees to the axis of the ram. And we've clocked the tool head as well, so it's at 90 degrees to the table. So we can take this off now. We'll remove all this instrumentation and we'll start thinking about setting our work up. Just move this out of the way. There we go. Really simple to make these sort of things, are here. I use a conventional, well, I've got a couple of sets of gauges with various levers and clamps and stuff like that. But to make the specific pieces to fit in on your clapper, it's pretty straightforward work and it's worth doing. it really is worth doing, because then you've got them. You can't put, you can't put really great mic bases and things on. There's nowhere to stick them. You might be able to put them on there, but you're so confined. It's not really practical. So get a selection of them. I've got quite a few bits and bats down here which I've made a few parts to allow me to put different pieces of instrumentation onto, to measure. Can you see that fits in there? It's got two different size holes. That one can fit in here. These two, that one can fit in there, and that one can screw in there. But it's also got an extension here which goes through into the actual clapper itself, which locks it in place, so I can use that to lock it in place if I need to. But anyway, that was a little exercise I did. Bit of screw cutting on the lathe. Made some parts which are useful to us. Right, let me strip this down and we'll start getting the work in place. Right, we've put the working device. We'll have a better look at that in a minute. What I want to just show you is the tool we're going to use. And can you see that? Don't know how clear that is to you there. But that's the tool, and it will be cutting that way. And we'll be coming down the face like that. So we're going to put it in there like that. I don't know if you can see that. I'll just whiz you around and you can have a look then. Anyway, you can see the shaper, can't you? Yeah. So we'll put it in there and we'll cut down this face here like that. Just need to see how much we've got to crank it over, because as we go further down, we might catch on the casting on the clapper here. So I just need to check that, verify that. But I'll need to cant the clapper over this way so that on the return stroke it drags and comes away from the work. Let's do that now, eh? First thing we're going to do is back this fella off. I'm going to push it over a little bit. That'll do. I'm going to alter the tool position. At the moment you can see I've got it at 90 degrees to the axis. I'm going to have it at 45. Let me change that now. I'll just pop it in the vise. Alright, I've repositioned that now. Can you see it's at 45 now? Yeah, I think you can see that. Right. That hopefully gives a bit more clearance because of the side of the casting there. But we need to make sure that the table can go that way across. I don't know how much travel we've got that way. Have a look. I mean, I can move this across. I think we're struggling a bit with space here, so let's have a look what we're doing. There you go. I think we can get that. Okay, that's tight. Make sure our little tool is tight. Right. much movement we've got left on this table. Still okay. So we should be okay going down as well. Shouldn't clash with anything. We're alright there, lucky. We've got that position just about right there. That's nearly at the maximum travel. And it's sticking out quite a way, that is now, so we need to be careful with that. Maybe we need to, should we lift the table up a little bit? I think we will. Let's lift it up. So let's I'm going to slacken the rail nuts off. You know what's required now. We've done that a few times. There we go. When I cleaned everything down, all the table, cleaned all the rail and everything, give everything a good oiling. Got some oil in the little oil nipple there for the gears, the bevel gears in here, which drives the screw which lifts the table up and down. But there's no lubrication for the shaft which drives the bevel gears. And sometimes you can hear it pretty rubbing. I don't like that. I think we're okay about that. Let's tighten these up. Right, that's tight now. That might give us a bit more space. Let's just see what happens. We drive that down all the way. There you are, that's clear. It's not quite all the way down now. About half an inch difference from where it was. So that's better. Right. Now we're going to touch off. I'm just going to check, make sure everything's tight. Yeah, that's not tight. Yeah, okay. Glasses. Where's the oil can? It's behind you. Alright, we're ready to get going. We need to set the stroke length, but we need to set where the stroke's going to start from. Let me just bring this back to the start. We don't need a 7-inch cut. Oh yeah, that's the about dead centre. Now we've got about 2 1/8. They were skimmed off, so it's 2. Do that on another machine, I think. 2 inches. So we'll set the stroke at about 3. And you see what we're doing here? So let's just do a 3. There we go. Now where's the start from? That's the start point. Probably not bad. Let's just give it a spin and let's see what it looks like. Let's move it back. There we are, that's back. It's centre. That's clear. I'm just going to do a bit more. That looks alright. I'm making sure I've got plenty of space at the back here, because when you're cutting on the edge here sometimes it will be clapping like that, and you want to give it time to sit back down again. Right, so what we're doing now then, when you get some speed on, feed across, we'll touch off, and then we can start cutting. Right, let's get going. Because we've got a shortish stroke, we can go a lot faster than what we have been. That's about 1200 RPM, that looks okay. Can you see alright there? I'm going to move you around a little bit so you can see what's going on.